Hello, greetings and salutations. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day or night or um, mid afternoon whenever you're watching this. Uh, this is Bill from Billboard Comics. We have another review for you today. This time it's from a company called AWA, that is stands for Artists, Writers, and Artisans. Um, I don't know what the difference between artists and artisans are in this perspective. I'm sure they probably tell us at some point, but I don't really have time for that right now because I want to get right into the review of their latest offering. It's a graphic novel called Lookout. It is written by a man by the name of Dan Bailey. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. He's Scottish of origin, spent some time in Southeast Asia. He was a former policeman, and he is it's spelled Baillie. Does lead me to believe that it'd be Bailey. Uh, it could be something entirely different. If it is, I apologize. But it features art by the legendary Tim Bradstreet. I say legendary because during the 90s, he was one of the best comic book cover artists working in comic books, renowned for his work on the covers for the Punisher series and also the Hellblazer series um, during Brian Azzarello's run. Um, he's one of my favorite artists, and I think he's a really nice guy. I think he might also be a Steelers fan. I think I remember having a discussion with him over the Steelers one time when I met him at convention a long time ago. Um, so when I saw he was doing art for this, I thought, well, this is be interesting to see how he would do artwork for a serialized comic book with panels and stuff like this. However, this is not a conventional graphic novel. This is a illustrated novella, and Bradstreet provides the spot illustrations for the text. Um, Back in 1800s, it'd just be called a novella, but nowadays you usually have this amount of pictures with the text. Uh, that's just the way it is. Um, so what this is basically about is about a man named Oscar. He's recently getting over a bad divorce, and he is trying to start life anew. He gets a job being a fire lookout, hence the title of the graphic novel, it, where he's supposed to like basically be on the lookout for anybody who might be doing campfires at night, uh, so it doesn't set the entire forest on fire. Uh, it's a kind of a lonely, solitary job. He's there by himself. He's up in a tower overlooking everything. His food and necessities are replenished on a weekly basis by his boss, and he's just basically there to hang out there looking for fires. Um, However, when he goes through like the little ranger's manual there, a loose leaf piece of paper slips out. It is 10 rules, 10 rules to avoid a supernatural creature by the name of the Weeping Lady. Apparently, this forest is haunted, and there is a reason why Oscar got this job so quickly and so fast is because it's pretty hard to keep anybody in position. They all seem to be going away. Where? Well, read on and find out. Um, so let's talk about this. I I knew I put the request out for reviews. I knew eventually it would come to this, that I'd get one that wasn't quite good. I just didn't realize it'd be the third one. Yeah, I didn't like this graphic novel whatsoever. Um, Main part it has to do with the writing of it. Um, the information that AWA gave about the graphic novel says that Bailey is not a trained professional writer, and boy howdy does it show. It shows in pretty much every little aspect of this book. Um, it is it's a conventional ghost story. You know, it follows along the conventions of the genre. Um, he sets up all the little stops along the train track of the narrative, and if you know anything about foreshadowing, you'll be there. But It is very perfunctory, very kind of like very staid and static kind of writing. It's not what the kind of writing you would expect from like a horror thing. Um, it's kind of hard. He doesn't really do a good job of setting the mood for um, the horror as most people do. Like everybody here has probably seen a Stephen King novel or something like that, and realize exactly what happens. Like to have a writer who really knows how to actually like write a good like lead into like a horror movie and able to generate suspense and disgust and horror and repulsion and fright with their words. Mr. Bailey does not do that. Um, it's it's kind of like this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and then this happens. I mean, there's one case where Oscar is running away from the ghost and running up the stairs to his tower to try to get in there and get away from it. Um, and like for instance, and I'm not telling him how to write the book, but like most horror stuff you have like some kind of like complication that arises on the way there. The protagonist trips or falls. Um, you know, like something happens, like it blocks the way to get in there. It has to go around it. It takes that. Some does it take longer. The ghost catches up to the protagonist, and just by sheer luck, uh, it's able to get out of the way. Something to build tension, something to make you think that something was going to happen. Bailey doesn't do that. There's nothing like that in here. Um, and the, uh, the the promotional information said that this story began as like a looks like a series of posts on Reddit, and yeah, you could obviously tell because like it's so disjointed and so kind of like it seems like it's put together on like on a whim, like made up on the fly. There's stuff that's plugged in there that you know doesn't seem to like like some of it's like hey, here's a little bit of foreshadowing here. Okay, this is going in like 20 30 pages later. Okay, I would like to have a little more like slow burn. It's supposed to be a horror movie, but horror book, but I didn't get it. But other stuff it just comes out of nowhere, and you have no foreshadowing. It's not really hinted at all that much at all or ever. Um, Characters are introduced with no really establish them as their personality or anything like that. Um, it, it's it's very frustrating because there's a bones of a pretty good story here. It's just that everything around the edges and the corners are missing. I don't, like the dialogue is also stilted too. It's like it's a first person narration, so it's mostly being told by Oscar, but it's kind of like it's you know like for instance, for example, he says one time about the ghost is outside the window of the tower, and then it moves. You think like most people, it would be effective just to have like the ghost is outside my mirror, outside my window, then it moved, and in Bailey says the ghost is no longer where it once was. Why? Why do you need that? Um, it's overly flowery when it doesn't need to be, but other times it mean a little more description, having it drawn out, having it like to be like play with our emotions a little bit more. He doesn't. He just cuts right to the meat, and that makes for an incredibly frustrating graphic novel reading experience. Graphic novels being a little bit too kind because it's not really a graphic novel. Um, Tim Bradstreet is uh, doing spot illustrations, and I'd say, well, you've been kind of mean to the novice writer, big tough bully. Do you have anything to say about Tim Bradstreet? Yeah, yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, his artwork is beautiful, but he's the kind of artist like kind of like the Alex Ross and some other ones who appear to use. Correct me if I'm wrong. Photo kind of photo models like photo influences for their artwork to paint or draw or do whatever they can. Um, Apparently, he had about like um, three models to do this, and he didn't really tell them to bring a change of clothes. So the protagonist Oscar, the action of the novel takes place over 3 days, he wears the same clothes all days. Another character is introduced, and we meet her a day later. She's wearing the same outfit because that's what the model was probably wearing when she sat for Mr. Bradstreet. And that's all well and good. Like it's not a big thing. You probably could like just overlook it and just don't worry about it. What was more concerning for me, and you might still think this is a relatively small nit to pick, um, the one time that Bailey actually went into detail about um, using like his language to describe like the ghost, and it gruesome in like about the its arms are broken backwards, and seeing the hands in his face, her face, I'm sorry, and bones protruding through the skin, and it's just like you could just see like it's normal except for that, and that's the only thing that like Tim Bradstreet had to draw, like hands that went backwards, and she's putting like all twisted and broken and mangled, and the very next page after Bailey makes that description, Bradstreet shows the ghost, and the arms are not mangled. They're just regular arms, nothing like that. Just like clear and smooth, and just nice, and really, really, really normal looking arms. And for me, I just I like how does this happen? This is like I've read some stuff from AWA. I've liked a lot of stuff that I read from AWA. It's a pretty good. It was edited, co-edited by Alex Alonso, who I think is the editor in chief of AWA, who was the editor in chief at Marvel, who put out a lot of good stuff on any of this at his tenure. Like this should, I mean, this should be caught someplace, um, somewhere along the line. Someone should say either like it's like hey, sorry about this, but Tim didn't draw the ghost the way it's described there. Can you go and revise this and you know change it so it matches the imagery, or go to Bradstreet and say, hey, we paid you for this. You didn't pay attention. Um, draw the ghost the way it's described in the text because it doesn't it kind of like it kind of it's obvious and it takes away from the story. Neither of those two were done. As a matter of fact, the ghost appears again in a full body shot later on in the drawn by Bradstreet, still with no mangled arms, and that is the one of the biggest defining characteristics of the ghost in the actual narrative. Uh, it's like it's it's still pretty to look at. He still does very well. Very good use of models. They're suitably creepy when they need to be. Um, but it's just like it's like it comes to a matter of continuity. It kind of takes the continuity away. And when you're having a kind of like tense kind of um, like ghost story, continuity is vital. Continuity is something that keeps you invested and keeps the motor running and keeps the narrative going and keeps people interested, so you can actually get to the end. I want to see what happens. I want to see does he make it out? Does he not make it out? What about this character? What about that character? What about this character? And there's nothing of that here. There's nothing there between like Bailey's writing and Bradstreet not actually like providing like the continuity he needs in his artwork. It's you just you kind like the serialized nature of it. Like I said, honest to God, like even before I read the bio, even before it said that um, that Bailey did this as a series of Reddit posts, I knew it was so fragmented. But I thought it was just the case of like, okay, what is this? Like somebody told me, oh, this is a good story, but maybe you had like a couple pages here, a couple pages there, and he didn't really have a way of actually making them fit in kind of smoothly, so just plopped them in there. Uh, the installments that you could tell that they're installments. The installments that he shoved in there just seemed to like they were just there for padding. Um, you didn't really need to have them in the narrative actually, and sometimes it took away from the narrative. Um, the ending is completely gaga. It's completely weird and wacky, and it's yeah, it comes from out of nowhere. It has a twist that is not even foreshadowed even a little bit. Slightly hinted. I'll be generous. Slightly hinted as a mystery, um, but it's not enticed enough to actually like you'd really be all that concerned about with it, or that you could even have the air of suspicion. If you're teasing something, tease it such so you could have like, is it or isn't it, to get the reader's mind working. This didn't have that. Um, yeah, this is I didn't like it at all. Um, but again, I am not you. I am not, I'm a fan of horror, but then again, I'm like not really, a big, you know, a scholar of the horror genre. However, it's just like it was an incredibly frustrating read. It was amateurish. Um, I could say at both levels. I mean, Tim Bradstreet's been in the industry for at least 30 years, if not longer, probably pushing 40. And it seems like he's just like, okay, I need this here, this here, this here, this here, this here. Okay, I need a scene with her in the forest with her hands on her thing. And didn't really actually bother to actually either read the actual text or just didn't care. He's, I would love to know what happened with that thing. And I don't mean to harp on it, but it's just like, it's like, okay, finally the author actually provides enough descriptive prose to actually get you interested in like, what's this creature going to look like. I can't wait to see what Tim Bradstreet draws it like, and he just nothing. God, it's incredibly frustrating. um, yeah, so I cannot recommend it, but you might want to give it a chance if you are a big fan of ghost stories, especially like, like kind of like slowly going insane kind of ghost stories. It only it's 64 pages. Like I said, it's not it's a quick read. It's not that long of a read, because it is there's a lot of text and the pictures, and some of them are full double page spreads of like the woods, which is beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous painting or digital painting or artwork or drawing or whatever, however, whatever medium Bradstreet used to do it. But that takes up 2 full pages of it, so it goes pretty quick. There's a lot of those big images to take up a whole lot of pages, and I was thankful for that because it helped me get through it quicker. Um, and I do apologize for like I'm sorry. I really was hoping to like this, and I'm not going to speak like I'm bitter because I didn't get a full 9 panel grid for all 64 pages from Tim Bradstreet. I'm just mad because it's just like it's it's just not well made. It's just not a well made book, um, and they're promoting the heck out of it. So I have no idea why. Because like I got 2 emails saying, "Hey, you agree to now? Hey, up for your review." I'm like, okay, well I guess these guys really want to use it, and this is going to be published on the Monday before it comes out, um, just to you know let you get a little close to it. I might put links into it to see if there's any place you could actually buy it from, if you want to. Um, Maybe look at someplace that has a really deep discount if you want to take a chance at it. But for me, it was a too staid, too disjointed, too non. It didn't really work with keeping the tone that it needed to have to survive as a ghost story for me personally. Your mileage may vary, and if it does, put it down in the comments. We can talk about that a little bit, have a discussion. If you have read it, and you loved it, and it's the best thing since Watchmen. Tell me, tell me why I'm wrong. Be nice about it. I hope I didn't go into personal insults here, and if I did, I apologize. Um, might have been a little snarky, but you know what? That's reviews. But there's no animosity or anything. I don't have anything about this. It's just I just want to. If I have to advise you, like if this is a good book or a bad book, I have to advise you it's a bad book, and I didn't like it. Um, if you read it and you agree with me, put something in the comments. If you want to see more reviews like this, um, hit the like button. Uh, Subscribe because I have a whole bunch of features on the site. If you are a publisher who would like to actually have their book reviewed and are not scared off by the fact that I lambasted this one or raked this one over the coals, get in contact with me. You know, I I have started a new email address. It's billboardcomics at gmail.com. So you could send it there, or my other email address is gates1971 at msn.com. I will be checking both of those, so if you want to send something my way. But in the but yeah, just keep on looking out for other stuff coming up on there. And until then, until I talk to you next time, until I see you next time, I wish you the best. I hope you have a great life, and keep on collecting. Just Not Lookout by AWA.